It's January 2nd, 2014, and this is Informe, a social media conversation, and I'm Nate Manahan.
And I'm Dustin Hickle.
We're going to spend some time talking about Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat.
And you know what? It's Listapalooza. It's the end of the year. All these articles are out. Crazy, crazy amounts of lists.
There is so much content that we'll never get our head all the way around it. But then we're going to spend just a little time at an infographic looking back at 2013 and some of the stats, and we're going to look forward to 2014 because we think it's going to be a great year in social media and small businesses. Keep watching Informe, a social media conversation. Well, guys, it's January 2nd.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's the start of a new year. Exciting Christmas. Today it's as snowy as you can get here in northern Indiana.
I'm telling you.
You know, we're for those of you who might be watching this in warmer climates, you're welcome to invite us. We'd love to come do a seminar for you. So just invite Dustin and I. We'd come talk to you. But this is a snowy day. Whiteout conditions for a little while. Not a huge amount of accumulation, I don't think. Probably 6 inches when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
But
it makes it a little bit harder to drive. Makes it a little slippery out there. For you guys in warmer climates, maybe you don't know.
No, but it gives us a chance to sit back here and figure out what we're going to do with social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so let's dive right in because there's so much happening all the time. It doesn't even take a break for the Christmas break. Social media didn't start. In fact, Snapchat might wish that things may have slowed down. But whoops, Snapchat is letting everybody know our phone numbers.
Yeah, 4.6 million Snapchat usernames and phone numbers were leaked online. You know what, for me, again, we've talked about this before. I'm not a huge Snapchat user, but I would be even more slow to go use Snapchat more now.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Snapchat, you have a chance. You were offered a bunch of money. You said we're all in. We're gonna do this ourselves. We're gonna make it work. You have a limited time. Screw-ups like this, again, it's beyond my capability. I don't know how the security works. All I know is you better make sure you have the engineers in this so it doesn't happen again.
Absolutely.
And because this time it was just phone numbers, which are usernames and phone numbers. Next time maybe it's passwords. Maybe it's, I don't know what. It's going to be target and actual, phone or credit card numbers.
Yeah.
This stuff is important, and you will lose users really quickly. Now.
Absolutely.
I still think Snapchat is usable.
Oh, yeah.
I still think
totally
it's something
relevant.
brands should be looking at. I don't think this has scared everyone off. But little stories like this, it makes me think, okay, I caution. And I'm not as bullish as I was at one point in Snapchat.
Yeah,
still not an avid user.
So, like you said, it's an excellent platform for you to use. Get out there, check it out, see if you can maximize it. But just be careful. There's actually tools out there I saw that you can check to see if your Snapchat account was compromised.
Yeah.
So if you're concerned about it, go check that out. There was actually on Mashable.com. There was a tool that you could just link to right there. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm not quite as crazy about it after that mistake. It's a little bit startling.
Well, and as their numbers grow and they turn down the money from Facebook, Facebook continues to have all this news about how it's descending down, and we're going to talk about this at the end. But what is interesting is what this article is talking about from Digital Trends is talking about how Europe's teenagers are using Facebook less and less. They called it dead and buried. I think this is link baiting a little bit.
Sure.
Is Facebook dead and buried?
You know what? I don't think Facebook is. It might be dead and buried in Europe. I'm not from Europe. I don't do spend a lot of time there with the teenagers in Europe. But Facebook as a whole, no way. Not even close.
Yeah.
Later, like you said, we're going to talk about it later. Our infographic later is going to tell us that 95% of Facebook users log in to check their account daily. Was that what it was?
Yeah, exactly.
Enormous number. So it's
And
obvious.
that's 1 point blah blah billion people.
Yeah.
95% of them are on Facebook in some way today. Now, how you use Facebook today versus how you used it a year ago for every brand is totally different.
Yeah.
It's changing quickly, and it's a pay-to-play system that we're going to get more and more on.
Absolutely.
But Facebook's not dead. That article just that bugs me when you're obviously just grabbing headlines.
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely.
So that's come on, digital trends. Don't just and that wasn't. They were quoting someone else. The global social media impact.
Yeah.
Facebook is seeing a decline, but they're still the big dog.
Absolutely.
There are lots of people using it. It's not the only thing you should use, but there isn't a brand that I can think of that shouldn't be on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no excuse not to be there. 1.6 billion users. That's enough said.
Yep.
The next article we're going to talk about is actually about Twitter, so another big player. A new app a new thing they're releasing on Android, which you use. it's allowing Twitter users to test like favoriting an entire account rather than just a post. You had a really cool thought about that.
Well, I think what's interesting is it's a great way for me to be able to say this. I like this whole Twitter feed, and I like this company, and because one of the things, we just are launching the Salcha Twitter. Follow us at Salcha, SALTSHA. But one of the ways that we're kind of interacting with people is we go to their accounts and we favorite things that we like what they say, and we think it resonates with who we are. I would love to be able to go and say, you know what they're doing at Social Media Examiner, I just like all they do. And here I'm going to favorite it. And what do you think, what's Twitter's long end game? They're allowing something new at their favorites. What's their goal? What are they going to use that favorites for?
Yeah, we totally talked about this. The pay to play system is coming back into play here, just like Facebook. Now you have to pay to get more reach for your posts, and Facebook's trying to make money. Well, Twitter went public, right? So, they're trying to make money. They eventually pay to play. If you want to see everything from Social Media Examiner, you probably are going to have to favorite their whole feed rather than just post by post basis.
Yeah, and I think probably what will happen is in Social Media Examiner, let's take Salcha. If I favorited it and then Salcha pays, I think what it'll say, like Facebook, and Nate Manahan favorited Salcha, you should too, and it'll appear in stream, and there is some monetization behind that. So now, interesting. Why only Android to begin with? What do you think?
Android's growing. It's getting bigger. It was
a big year for them.
Yeah, huge year for them. And I feel like there are a lot of users moving from iPhone to Android. That might be, maybe the API is more open. I'm not really into that whole side of things, but there's a big market of probably early adopters. Early adopters going that way, so why not? That's your market.
No, it is. I think as we transition into several more stories here, I kind of call this, I love the end of the year because it's kind of Listapalooza is what I call it. Listapalooza. We're having all these people, the top 10, top 20, all the things, and it's a great way to look at the curated list. And if you follow Salcha, I've been doing some of the Twitter links and linking up some of the best articles out there. We're going to talk about a couple of them. And Social Media Examiner did the 31 must-read social media marketing articles. That is a ton of articles. And we have not read all 31.
No.
And it's on my list, and I'm going to go through and read it. Here's what first let me start this way. Social Media Examiner, you guys do a great job. You give credit clearly to who wrote the article. Absolutely. You give a summary, you give a link, they actually take an image. They're a great way of using curated content and helping drive traffic to other sites, driving traffic to your own site. Absolutely. And I want to give them credit for that. We're each going to choose an article that we really like that resonated with us. Maybe you can jump on and tell me.
I'll go ahead and take it over. I like the one, it was called 52 Unique Ways to Create Social Media Magic. So in this list of 31 articles, this article has 52 unique ways that you can actually do something in social media. Listapalooza.
It is.
But yeah, I think this is a really great article. Check it out. It's by a lady named Rebecca Radis, Smart, Sassy, Social. Really, really awesome stuff here. I mean, what I took out of this article is that there's not some magical floating thing out there that you have to try to, somehow grasp just a wisp of dust to be successful on social media. There are actually 52 strategic steps to take, things that you can do, physical actions that help you to perform better on social media.
And because we were talking about this before, how do you stay up to date on social media? It's impossible.
Right, you can't stay up
to date. And you can just sit here and go, oh my word, all this is going on. How do I stay on top of it? Do I start with Snapchat? Do I go to LinkedIn? What in the world is this? Next app that's going on?
Four new social media platforms that we hadn't even heard of before today.
I mean, so you can't stay. Sometimes we need to come back to basics, and that's a nice thing about this article. Talking Listapalooza, I chose number 7 on the article, which was 13 characteristics of human brands. And this is a great article. First, it's a series of articles that I got a chance to read from this year, and this one was particularly posted April 22nd, so it was from 2013. But by Pam Moore, where she tried to flesh out how you become a human and not just a brand. And there were some simple things. They weren't extremely profound, but great reminders of think like humans, care about humans, value relationships, listen to other humans. I think what Pam did a great job here is helping us realize that we don't want to just be the upstuffy brand. We need to create personality, and some of that and there's all kinds of ways to do it, but this is just a simple list of reminders.
Yeah.
And she writes some great articles, and I wanted to bring highlights to her. And so here's what I love about social media.
Mm-hmm.
Take 3 hours, read as many of those articles. Those articles will link to
gosh.
other articles, all those lists, and then just do it in one big chunk.
Yeah.
And I encourage you to do that. And I'd be interested in what is your favorite article? As you interact with us, because we're not going to find all the stuff. Like you said, we sat down. We can't read all 31 articles, and then we can't do all 52 steps, and we can't make sure that we're all. It just becomes suddenly we have hundreds of things that we're supposed to do.
And this show would be an hour long.
Yeah, and we're already trying to keep it 20 to 30 minutes. But this is just awesome stuff that you can spend some time with. And if you have people that you can hire just to read stuff and then come back and summarize, that's what we're here also trying to help you do. But it's a great stuff.
I mean, you can learn so much just going and like you said, taking 3 hours. I don't know if maybe it's after work one day when you're just on the couch, or if you have time during the day that you can actually take away from the work. But if you can actually spend 3 hours, you're going to learn so much about social media strategy, steps to take, philosophy, theories, the whole thing, and you'll be so much more of an expert even in 3 hours than you were before. It's just insane.
Yeah. It's again, Social Media Examiner did another list in our Listapalooza segment as we go through here, but this is 11 social media marketing predictions, and they went through and found some experts that are in the business of social media, and they asked them, okay, here's what do you think is going to happen in 2014?
Mm-hmm.
And so they went through and made 11 bold predictions, and they give credit, and they just do a great job.
Yeah.
We were each going to choose several of them. For me, I hope this is true, and I'm going to jump to number 6, Fusion Marketing and Fusion Dashboards. And I'm sorry, I think it's Vivica von Rosen, and I think is her name. I wasn't familiar with her until reading this, but I loved what she was saying. She said simply, I hope that there's a simple, inexpensive way to monitor what's going on our social media across the board, the multi-channel stuff. We say you can't just be on Facebook, you can't just be on Twitter, you can't zero in. It's got to be a multi-channel. It's got to be a big strategy. But sometimes, in order to do that, we use HubSpot here. We're big fans of HubSpot and what they're doing. Marketo, there are others out there, but there's a cost to it sometimes.
Yeah,
and for that one person, small business out there that's just starting up and maybe doing, they're a shop in a small town in the center of the United States, and spending $1,000 a year on some type of app is well beyond what they have the capital to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she's saying, I hope there's some type of Fusion Marketing, Fusion Dashboard to be there. And I looked at it, I was like, that's what I hope. In fact, we have some dreams in house of creating some stuff like that. Yep. But I don't really care where it comes from. I just hope that it empowers small business and medium-sized businesses to become more effective at our social media and get all these data points into something simple.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like you said, there's so much out there. If you're using all those different social media platforms, it'd be great to see something like that come. Yeah. And you never know, there could be something coming your way from Salcha. So keep your eyes out.
Yeah, you keep it. But I hope as a prediction, I think 2014, the information's there, and all the APIs are there, and people are starting to figure out how to put all this together. We'll see. Because what happens is you become a Twitter forces you to try to use Twitter. Facebook tries to use Facebook. We need some way to look over the big picture. Yep. And whether it's Hootsuite or whether it's Buffer or whether it's HubSpot and how you integrate all these things together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I went actually one above you. I went to number 5.
You had to one up me.
And again, we've talked about this a lot today, but this is one that I'm hot on for 2014. It's going to be pay to play. You're going to have to pay for your social media message to be as widespread as you want it to be. Yeah. For a while there, it's been real easy to, or it was pretty easy just to put your message out there, and it would kind of curate itself a little bit, create a little bit of virality itself. But with the way Facebook has changed its algorithm, like I can post from PayPro Media's Facebook page, and it was less than 5% of the people who actually like my page are going to see the thing that I posted. Yeah. That's painful because for a while you got a pretty good span covered most of the people that like your page, but anymore you have to pay to expand that reach. That's my take on Twitter too. That's going to be coming up. I'm thinking that you're going to have to do that for Twitter as well, which is why that favoriting pages is going to be really useful. But don't be surprised. Be prepared for that and make sure that you actually take some money and budget to be able to spend on social media, because you're going to have to be able to do it to be really successful. Unless you can create unless your brand is big like Oreo and you can put out a simple video of an Oreo walking down a hallway and getting flooded with milk or something like that, like they did.
Yeah, a little line.
Yeah, it was viral and they got tons of coverage out of it. But as a small business, that's hard to do. So make sure you set aside a little bit of money for that because it's going to be important.
Yeah, and it's take the money that you used to spend on your phone, the Yellow Pages ad.
Sure.
And figure out how you're going to use it in social media, whether it's Facebook sponsored ads, whether it's Twitter sponsoring it, whatever it is, and realize that that's back to the Fusion dashboard. We're going to be able to target exactly our audience and do some A/B testing. There's because one of their predictions is that social networks develop A/B testing tools for brands or organic updates. Number 4, I'm adding another one in there, but all this stuff is interactive, and 2014 is going to be a great year for this stuff.
Yep.
And we're here to try to help you stay on top of it. And if you're able to do that yourself, you can help us stay on top of it too,
absolutely.
because there's stuff that we're missing. There's just more information than what Dustin and I and our team of 38 staff here at PayPro Media and the Salsa team can ever stay up on.
Yeah.
But stay up on these lists too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
absolutely.
just stuff. Transitioning, how to set up guidelines, because I found this article and I thought it was really interesting. How to set up social media guidelines for your staff.
Yeah.
As you grow from 1 person to 2, and 2 to 5, and 5 to 10, and your team of people are representing to you, how do you suggest that you set up social media guidelines?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we talked about this a little bit. We don't, at Paper Media, we don't actually have staff guidelines for your social media. We've never actually branched into that, but we're getting to the point now where there's quite a few of us, and maybe it's time for us to start putting into when someone signs on, putting in regulations and saying, hey, you always represent Paper Media, so make sure your posts on social media don't kill us. Make sure you can't post about this, you can't post about this. Don't go out onto Facebook and say, hey, I left a bomb in my car last night. Don't do something like that. Whatever you do, and just try to put those guidelines on it so that, and you were making a really good point about this and how that no matter how you separate yourself from your company, you're always reflecting your company.
Yeah, because it bothers me somewhat. A guy that I encourage you to listen to is on Marketing Podcast. Scott Stratton was talking. He talks often about the fact that when we put in the profile, these are my views and not really the views of my company. That's bogus.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Because they are the views they are representing the company that stands behind you. Because when you walk out, you are still an employee of X company, and you still are representing them. No matter if you're on social media or you're at Walmart, you're representing who you're working for, and the things you do and the things you say will reflect back on your company.
Absolutely.
So don't try to hide it. Hey, I'm just doing it. This is just me. No, it is you and your company. And so sometimes you need to put some guidelines on paper, and this is something we were talking. Maybe we need to do that in our stage. We haven't. And that represents 2 sides. One, if they're posting on behalf of the brand, and then if they're posting on behalf of themselves, and how those 2 things interact. So you establish, there's some good guidelines here in the Social Media Explorer article. Some ideas.
Yeah, check it out, read this. It's a great article. I think it's interesting, how to try to separate that, in your own mind. We, here at Paper Media, we're putting in some guidelines as far as what you do with your social media, what you do in your life, what you do at work even, as just using good judgment. I mean, and that puts a lot of pressure on the staff itself, and that's in this list. Use sound judgment. It's important because you have to just take time to consider that. Make sure you explain the importance of that to your employees. That it's important that they use sound judgment because they do represent you. Yeah,
and it's okay to disagree. I watched on Facebook recently a couple guys totally disagreeing on something that both work here, and I think they're still getting along. I think maybe I should check in on that. But it's all right to have controversial opinions. It's okay to differ in opinion, but do it in a respectful way. Absolutely. And then don't go out there and say something totally jumping off the cliff. And I think we all know when that is. And you have to maybe take an extra second and say, will this hurt our business if I say this?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, so absolutely. Just take a second, like Nate said, and just give it that extra moment of thought. Use sound judgment. Simple as that. We're going to go ahead and go to the next article, which is recommending going beyond Facebook and Twitter. for your social media, and we talk about that a lot here.
Yeah.
It's
just something you need to do, and we'll probably have future episodes where we spend a little more time on some of these smaller social networks. But don't just stop at Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
There's way too many other things to do, and that really ties us into our infographic of the week, and that's something that we like to end every week at. And this one we found, we'll link it up here through Pinterest.
Yeah. You're a big Pinterest user.
I am, and that's one of the, don't just be on Facebook and Twitter. Be on Pinterest, be on Snapchat. Consider MySpace if that fits. Whatever it is, you need to look at this. But this was the fascinating social media statistics from 2013.
Yeah.
We're January 2nd. We're looking back. We're also looking forward. Interesting right off the top. 30% of traffic from social media is from slideshare.net.
To me, that's very surprising.
Yeah.
To an extent. I mean, there's tons of good information there. Obviously, if you're looking for something particular, you can go find a slideshow about it. But 30% of traffic is from slideshare.net. That one just staggered me a little bit. It kind of stood out.
And it's something I have some slides that I want to be putting, because I have not used it as much as I have. I use it for research. I have not been a person that puts the content out there, and I do have some slide decks that we did one together that we have not put out there. I wonder, we just need to test it out a little more, but 30% of traffic, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
It does show that people are looking for quality, more in-depth content, because a slide share is really, like Gary Vaynerchuk's using it really well right now, and he's putting things together just for that. I don't even think they're originally presentations, and they're beautiful, and they have lots of content, and that certainly engages people.
Yeah.
And so people are looking for quality content, and SlideShare provides a little more opportunity, and then they share back to social media, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, other places. And not surprising, LinkedIn acquired SlideShare for $119 million. If 30% of the traffic, they got a steal on that.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
especially since Snapchat turned down offers up to $4 billion.
And like we said, Snapchat, get your stuff together, because you just turned down a boatload of money. And if you're handing out my phone number, and I haven't checked to see if you are, but I am a Snapchat user. I've used it like 3 times. Yeah. But I don't want people having my phone number, and I definitely don't want my password out there. And get your stuff together.
Absolutely. I liked this one. There are more than 35 million selfies posted to Instagram.
There are a lot of selfies. And in fact, I think
we took a selfie and
we did and posted it out there. Yeah, and that's happened. Pinterest's most followed board is LL Bean's Woodland Creatures.
Interesting. Cute woodland animals.
Who doesn't love that? It shows that was a board that's unique for LL Bean. It's not their clothing, but it certainly drives their brand.
Absolutely.
And certainly know what LL Bean represents and what kind of things you're going to find at LL Bean. And what a unique way of using Pinterest. Pinterest, I'm still so high on it. If you can find some of our other episodes, or we'll keep talking about Pinterest in time, but you should be using Pinterest for sure.
And this next part of the infographic actually says that that Pinterest has 41% of the share of total traffic referred to e-commerce sites, and the average shopper spends $140 to $180 if driven from Pinterest, compared to $60 to $80 if driven from Facebook.
And that is true with a diminished usage of Pinterest, because what it says right there is yet only 10% of brands have a major marketing focus on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Pinterest, wow.
Get out there, check it out.
And that's something we need to spend some time on. As we read an infographic, it talks about that infographics are 4 times more likely than presentations to be read, which mixing that with SlideShare, I'm not sure how all that goes together, but where infographics are appealing. And people just want... Twitter is great because you can get it and be able to decide really quickly whether in 140 characters you want to click on.
Yep.
But people want good quality content that's maybe a little more expansive, and that's where SlideShare, that's where infographics come into place, and they want to be able to read it quickly and see it.
And both SlideShare and infographics are visually usually very appealing, and that's huge too. It captures people. Last one that I'm going to go ahead and put out there, Google Plus adds 25,000 new users every day, so that's on average 8 new users every second. So 8 new users just joined. It's crazy. Yep. Growing like wildfire. I'm hot on Google Plus. I think that's going to be a big social media platform in 2014.
As we end today, I think the thing about starting a new year is you kind of get to look forward and say, what are we going to do? So what's your one personal goal for social media for yourself? I'm just throwing you under the bus here.
That's a weird one. Yeah, no, that's okay. Personal goal, I want to get big into Pinterest, and I want to maximize Google Plus. So I know I gave you two.
Yeah.
Pinterest is so impressive, and I want to get into it like you do. And then I also want to get bigger into Google Plus. I'm going to join groups. I'm going to start conversations, and I'm going to try to become like a referral source for people to go find about social media marketing on Google Plus.
Yeah, and I would say it's interesting. That's two of the things. I want to try out the new services as fast as I can. So I don't want to be behind the curve. Mm-hmm. So when Snapchat is out, I want to be a person that said, yeah, I tested that 6 months ago. Are you just learning about that?
Right, absolutely.
So that's my goal. But then on Pinterest and Google Plus, I want to use it in a more social manner.
Absolutely.
Currently, Pinterest is a very curated source just for me to go back and find all the recipes that I like and the infographics that I've pinned. And I'm not interacting in much of this. And the same is true with Google Plus. I'm a voyeur, for lack of a better term, on those platforms. And there are people that I'm following that are producing great content and getting incredible engagement. I think a guy I follow in the tech world called Mike Elgin. He's a new host of Tech News Today on the Twit networks. Great show. Encourage you to watch it. And I think they're launching their show today as we're recording. But he uses Google Plus so well and engages with people, and has millions of followers. And he's talking about technology news and how it implies all life. And so I love that we're both thinking about the same things. I think that we're going to see a lot of changes this year, and it's not going to be that Facebook is dead. It's not. No. It's going to be that we have to think broader, and we have to use Pinterest, and we have to create strategies to use Google Plus. And hopefully we're going to be here to help you do that. And we want to hear from you. So you can contact me through my Twitter at NKManahan. I will try to put some other places out there in the world, but in my Twitter I always am interacting with as much, and I read the feeds, and I try to post a couple times a day. How about you, Dustin?
Yeah, you can get a hold of me at Dustin Hickle on Twitter, also at Paper Media. I'm there too. Also, let's just go out there on a limb. Find me on Google Plus. We'll circle up. Yeah. Dustin Hickle. Simple as that.
Yeah, and this is all part of Salcha. And Salcha we encourage you to go to salcha.com and sign up for the newsletter that'll keep you up to date as we create this product. There's a new product coming out. I know we're just kind of teasing, but you're going to start seeing these videos. Watch some of the other videos on it. You can watch BizTech. Toby and Paul will take you through some of the technology issues that are going on that are hopefully applicable to small business. That's who we see our target audience as people that are running small businesses.
Like you guys.
You can watch Moving Forward, which is Kayla and Leilani sitting down and talking about women in business issues. We sit down with the writers who are writing content for Salcha that will come out in the months to come. But we sit down now and talk about what they're writing and how they're writing it. And there's just some great young minds. Yeah, Ethan and Leilani is back on that show, and Ashley, as they sit down with me and talk about what they're thinking about and how that applies to small businesses.
Absolutely.
All this video content right here at salcha.com on the YouTube channel. We would love it if you would share it, but we'd also love it if you give us comments and interact, because we're going to be changing. We're talking about changing up even the style here on Informe, because this is a social media conversation. We want you to talk to us, and we want to talk to you, and we want to bridge this out. So whether we use Reddit, all kinds of tools that we could use, we'd love to hear from you as we build this platform. So hopefully you've had an all right time spending about a half an hour with us. We're really excited about 2014. Salcha is coming out. Informe is getting out there in the wild. We've been recording these for a while, and we're actually posting these on the web, and you guys are going to get a chance to watch them and hopefully tell us how we can improve, whether it's from set to, please don't criticize how we look too much. We just would appreciate that. But we know that there are haters out there that might do that too. But for Dustin, I'm Nate Manahan. This has been another Informe, a social media conversation. We'll see you next time.